Before you sit down at the closing table to sign those final documents, there's one last step that you can take to save you a lot of headaches: the final walkthrough. Hi, I'm David Barahona, your bilingual real estate agent of the Triangle area. Today, I'm going to guide you through what the final walkthrough is, why it's so important, and what steps to take to be fully prepared. What is the final walkthrough? Think of the final walkthrough as your final opportunity to make sure that the house that you're buying is in the condition you agreed to in the contract. It's not another full inspection. It's more like a final quality check before you take ownership. Typically, this walkthrough happens within the last 24 hours before closing. The reason it's so close to closing is simple. It reduces the chance that something could go wrong between your visit and the moment that you get the keys. Imagine signing the papers only to discover a new leak in the basement the following day. By doing it so close to closing, you protect yourself from walking into unexpected surprises. Legally, sellers are obligated to allow this walkthrough. It's built into most contracts, and while it might feel like it only benefits you as the buyer, it actually protects the seller too. By documenting the condition of the home, the seller can prove they delivered it as promised, which avoids disputes later on. In other words, it's a win-win for both sides. Main goals of the walkthrough: verify agreed upon repairs. Remember that list of repairs you negotiated after the inspection? This is your moment to confirm they've been done and done correctly. Bring the repair amendment, the inspection report, and ideally receipts or invoices from licensed professionals. For example, if the seller agreed to fix a leaking roof, you don't just want their word for it. You want to see proof that a roofer actually handled it, not a quick DIY patch job. Walk around the house with those documents in hand and check each item off your list. If the seller promised to service the HVAC, test the heating and cooling. If they replaced a broken window, make sure it opens and closes smoothly. This step isn't about being picky. It's about making sure that you're not left with unfinished business the day after closing. Test major systems and features. The walkthrough is your last chance to ensure that things that were working before haven't suddenly stopped. Turn on every faucet to check water pressure and look for leaks under sinks. Flush the toilets. Run the shower for a few minutes to see if hot water is working. Open and close all doors and windows to make sure they latch properly. Don't forget the garage door opener, the doorbell, the thermostat, and even small details like light switches. These quick checks help confirm that the home is functioning as expected. Review the home's overall condition. Beyond repairs and systems, take a step back and take a look at the home as a whole. Are there any new scratches on the hardwood floors? Maybe the refrigerator or washer you thought was staying is suddenly missing. These are the kinds of issues that sometimes show up after a seller moves out. Also, check that the seller didn't leave behind unwanted items. That way, if something comes up, you have clear documentation to fall back on. What if you find problems? Even with the best intentions, sometimes things aren't perfect on walkthrough day. Maybe you find repairs that haven't been completed, or you find new damage that wasn't there before. The good news? You still have leverage because you haven't closed yet. If it's something small, like a leaky faucet, a missing light fixture, or a damaged cabinet door, you might ask the seller to take care of it before you sign the papers. This ensures you receive the home in the condition you expected, and it can often be resolved quickly with minimal cost or delay. Having your agent document the request in writing adds an extra layer of protection. Negotiate a credit or cash at closing. Instead of waiting on the seller to fix it, you might prefer to handle the repair yourself. For example, if an appliance needs replacement, you might want the flexibility to choose the brand and model that best suits you. These credits are typically applied directly against your closing costs or provided as an adjustment on the final settlement statement, which means you walk away with more funds available to tackle the repair immediately after moving in. The seller is still on the hook until the property officially transfers. And if they've left unwanted belongings, you have the right to request for them to be removed before the closing. The key is to make sure that everything gets addressed prior to closing. Once you close, it becomes difficult to get these things resolved. Practical tips for a smooth walkthrough. Bring your paperwork. Have your repair list, contract, and inspection report with you so you know exactly what to check. Think of it like a checklist that keeps you on track during the walkthrough. If you bring a printed copy, you can literally mark off each repair. Some buyers even bring a clipboard or use a notes app on their phone so they can take photos and attach them right next to each line item. This not only keeps you organized, but also gives you a clear record if any questions come up later. Take your time, don't rush. Spend enough time walking through each room and testing systems. Open closets, check storage areas, and walk through outdoor spaces as well. A careful, unhurried pace gives you the opportunity to notice small details. Think of it as your final opportunity to visit the house room by room before it officially becomes yours. Use photos and videos. They're powerful evidence if a dispute arises later. Snap pictures of every room, focus on repaired areas, and capture close-ups of anything that looks questionable. Short video clips are especially useful because they show how things actually function, like faucets running, appliances turning on, or garage doors opening. These visual records become undeniable proof if you have to go back and show that something wasn't delivered as promised. Schedule wisely. Always do the walkthrough within 24 hours of closing. That way, the home's condition is fresh in your mind and you'll be able to catch any last-minute changes that might occur as the seller moves out. Movers can accidentally scratch walls or damage flooring, and if you wait too long, it's harder to prove when the damage occurred. Do a second walkthrough if necessary. If the seller is staying in the home temporarily after closing, consider scheduling another walkthrough once they've fully moved out. This extra step helps you confirm that the property is completely vacated, cleaned, and that no new damage occurred during the move-out process. For instance, heavy furniture being dragged across hardwood floors can cause scratches, or walls can be dinged when boxes are carried out. A quick second walkthrough ensures you don't inherit unexpected problems once the seller is gone. Communicate clearly. Work closely with your agent throughout the process. If problems show up, they'll know how to negotiate solutions, whether that means asking for credits, repairs, or escrow holdbacks. Make sure that every agreement is documented in writing, preferably in addendums to the contract, so that nothing is left to memory or interpretation later on. The final walkthrough may seem like a small step in comparison to everything else you've been through, but it's one of the most important ones. So take it seriously, be prepared, and don't be afraid to speak up if something isn't right. Want to know what happens after this step? Watch this video where I break down what happens on closing day and why it's so crucial after the final walkthrough. Just click now.